Well, that's four straight. The Pittsburgh Penguins fall to the Florida Panthers 3-1 here at, God, I can't remember the name of this arena. Amarant Bank. Used to be Florida or FLA Live, whatever. Here in Sunrise, Florida, the Penguins fall to the Florida Panthers 3-1. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now and the National Hockey Now YouTube channel. Before we start, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, comment, participate in this here little, I wouldn't call it a shindig anymore. Before we start the video, let's do a couple of things. Mark Johnstone plays his first NHL game, his NHL debut. 27-year-old Mark Johnstone. And listen, it's a long way from the NAHL, kind of the second-tier junior level, to professional hockey. It's a longer path from the ECHL to the NHL, and he's now done both. Kudos to him, 27 years old. Never give up. I thought when he was on the ice, he showed energy. I think the line from coaches and players were, the three new guys in the lineup on Friday night, Valtteri Puustinen, Mark Johnstone, Jonathan Gruden, is they gave what they had. Now, that's a nice way of saying they didn't expect a whole lot from these guys, but they played hard. I thought Puustinen was a significant upgrade over Alex Nylander. Nylander scores a couple of goals, I think, in Wilkes-Barre Friday, at least one, maybe two. But Puustinen asserted himself. Now, first game this season, second NHL game. Always factor in the adrenaline. Radim Zohorna is a great example where his first handful, 7 games, were way up here because the adrenaline was pumping. What happens once that adrenaline wears off? Although Puustinen did something unique on the power play. I don't know the last time I saw a player do it. Puustinen is kind of a small guy. He's in the left wing circle. To take the one-timer, he actually slid his right hand up, so it made the stick longer and just whipped the one-timer. It's a good save. It got some pretty good heat on the puck. You notice I'm avoiding talking about the game. Penguins, of course, losing 3-1. I'm avoiding that like the plague because who wants to analyze it at this point? The Penguins, I thought, played simply. A couple of guys were really mistake-prone. I thought Erik Karlsson took a handful of wildly unnecessary chances. There was a couple in the first period where Karlsson charged forward to try to pinch into a play that was already coming at him. He had zero chance of success on these. One was a 2-on-1 against, the other was a breakaway against. Tristan Jarry bailed him out, and so did a post. That was inexplicable to me. After the Penguins scored, the Penguins led 1-0. Sidney Crosby in the locker room lamented they haven't been able to get a lead. Well, they had the lead 1-0. Very next shift, Karlsson made one of those pinches again where he goes flying forward, becoming the fourth stick in a play that had ended. And there goes Florida, straight at the Penguins. Those are the things that I'm struggling with. I suppose that's baked into the Erik Karlsson pie. I suppose the Penguins knew that's what they were getting. I suppose that was all part of the package, but it is sometimes inexplicable. He needs to pick his spots better. Riley Smith broke a more than a month-long goal drought, his first goal since November 4th. He scored a pretty nice little breakaway, little backhand deke as Malkin raced into the zone, spun the puck off the wall, and Smith was uncovered. The Penguins had chances, and I think maybe if you take something good from it, it was the number of grade A chances they had. If you take something bad from it, it's the number of grade A chances they had that they didn't convert on. I don't know what to tell you anymore. The power play has now failed 37 consecutive times. On the second power play, did you notice the second unit stayed out there for like 90 seconds? I do think the coach had sent a message, but I'll also tell you this: at least one player kind of kicked the power play scheme a little bit, saying we lack direction. And you'll read that quote in another outlet tomorrow. I won't tell you that Josh Yohe got the quote from Erik Karlsson. It'll be in there, I'm sure. And I always wholeheartedly recommend reading Josh. Josh is the stalwart, I think, of this market and this beat writing group. But more to the point, I honestly am out of ways to analyze getting chances and not scoring. I'm out of ways to analyze making these mistakes. I'm out of ways to analyze playing a really good game, but not covering two players at the net front. Both of those pucks wound up behind Tristan Jarry, who otherwise was really good. Again, when I put out the call for the post-game Q&A, and I went, no, we've gone past 5 minutes at this point. It's almost like whose line is it anyway? The points just don't matter. We just ignore the 5-minute post-game moniker. When I took Mike Sullivan off the table for the Q&A, all of the questions dried up. And the reason I'm taking the Sullivan question off the table, it's because I just don't feel in my bones that's going to happen. I mean, look, eventually it could. I just don't think that's the stage they're at. I think they're still playing too well, 5-on-5. They're killing penalties well. Most nights they're playing kind of well. I think this is still more a matter of team construction. And before the road trip, Kyle Dubas on the Penguins network said that the Florida trip, he was using that as a gauge to judge his team. Well, they lost all 3 games on the road trip. Overtime in Philly, lifeless in Tampa, spirited but ineffective in Florida. So let's see what questions I've got that aren't Mike Sullivan. How many points out? This comes from Ryan, by the way. Let me put the thing over here. How many points out from a wild card spot would the team have to be for Dubas to consider trading a larger name like Gensel? Not that I want him to go, Ryan says, but trying to think of who could be a decent return. Generally speaking, Ryan, 6 points in the second half of the season. That's been kind of the line of demarcation. Now, I don't know if Dubas would subscribe to that. Plus, if there's only one team between you and the wild card and you're 6 points out, that's a lot different than being 6 points out and 4 teams between you and the wild card. Right now, the Penguins find themselves in the ladder as Carolina holds the second wild card. Philadelphia is up already, up in the top 3. Carolina holds the second wild card. New Jersey, Tampa, and Washington. Those are 3 good teams are between the Penguins and that wild card. So taking your question, kind of a base, I'm not going to hold you to the Gensel because I know you're just spitballing there. But to make trades, to sell is what you're really asking, I think. I think 6 points in the second half of the season. Let's see here. Crosby is 66% face-off win percentage on the power play this year. That's all I've got. I'm bored, says Drew. Well, Drew, thanks. I appreciate the contribution. Zach with a Sullivan question. I do think, and I hate to dive into the Sullivan question, right? I just don't want to go there because I think once I open that door, then it becomes a running thing, and let's just avoid it. I will say this before I close the trunk, padlock it. put Houdini in there and toss it. I think you would see a bench shakeup before a Sullivan shakeup. The Big Show, right into the Sullivan thing again. Man, you guys are killing me. When is firing the coach the only possible option? I don't think it is. And is there any chance of moving any of the big three, starting the rebuild with some actual picks and prospects in your bag? Big Show, tell me who the number one draft pick is going to be next season, next June at the Sphere. Tell me who the number two pick, the number three pick. Tell me who these guys are. Ask the Red Wings, ask the Senators, ask the Sabres. None of those three are in a playoff spot. And they have been rebuilding forever and a day. Actually, is that true? None of them are in a playoff spot? Let me double check the Red Wings are in third place. Please forgive me. The Red Wings are, in fact, in a playoff spot. Buffalo is behind the Penguins. Ottawa is last in the Eastern Conference, and they have been rebuilding and rebuilding. So do you really want to go through that? I think so often people in Pittsburgh just assume, because it's happened this way twice before, you suck, you get a superstar, you build around the superstar, and it's a lot of fun. Yay! All the bandwagon fans and the corporate types, they leave the arena, and the real fans get, 2 to 4 really good years to go into the arena and have a party. They build a culture. Yay! And here comes Stanley Cups. Rinse, lather, repeat, right? Did it with Mario. Jágr didn't get his cups, but they had to stink for a moment to get Jágr too. And the way they got Fleury, Crosby, let me do it in order. Fleury, Malkin, Crosby, Stahl. It doesn't happen that way. Honest to God, the odds of that quadfecta hitting, what is 4? I know obviously 3 is trifecta. What's 4? Doesn't matter. The odds of that are infinitesimal. I mean, think about it. A number 1 pick, Marc-Andre Fleury. They actually had the 3rd overall pick. Easy trade up, Michael Samuelsson getting the 1st overall pick. 2nd overall pick, Evgeny Malkin. How often is the 2nd overall pick just about the equal of an all-time great? Then to win the unbelievable ping pong balls to get Sidney Crosby. Would they have a 6% chance, and it came through for them? Followed by Jordan Stahl, 3rd overall. 3rd? 2nd? Sorry, it's been 17 years. Actually coming up on 18, I suppose. Don't be so quick. Let's rebuild. Because trust me, more often than not, it sucks. More often than not, you are stuck with Generation Next. Remember Generation Next? Yeah, it was fun for a minute. It was fun in October and November when the guys were really playing hard. It wasn't so fun by February when the guys hated each other, the team stunk, no fans were there, nobody watched on television. The rotating cycle from the AHL to the NHL, and GM Craig Patrick was just grabbing anybody, taking chances, wild flyers on players. Remember Sean Hines? I think that was his name. He of the 106-mile-an-hour slap shot. Didn't last very long. Or Guillaume Lefebvre, or Dan Vogt, or Ramsey Abid, and all of these guys. It's fun for a minute. Talk to me 5 years into that. Okay, let me jump back and grab maybe one more question here. Is that the last one? The only one that's not Sullivan? Yeah, it looks like that was the only one that wasn't Mike Sullivan. So that'll do it from Sunrise, Florida. Yeah, I don't have any site news that I thought I was going to be announcing. We're working on some things. We're working on patching some things up. We're working on some things. How's that? So I'll be back in Pittsburgh Saturday afternoon. I'm not looking forward to the cold. I kind of like the 70-degree weather down here. I will tell you know what? I will say this. Kudos to the Florida Panthers fans. They're starting to show up. They're starting to build a little bit of a culture here at whatever Bank Arena. They're getting involved, and my buddy George Richards, who takes care of Florida hockey now, hopefully he will have a fan base to write for. There isn't a better writer in the league than George Richards, and he has kind of toiled down here for the very small, dedicated group of Panthers fans, and I'm looking forward to hoping that he gets a large group of dedicated Panthers fans. So that's it. Have fun. Like, subscribe. Also, if you care, take a look at the PHN Plus report card. The three new guys really did kind of give it what they had. Crosby and Gensel, again, were brilliant. Great chances, just couldn't finish, and away they go. Losers of 4 straight. Starting to get a little bit into a danger zone, next to last in the Metro Division. I'm Dan Kingerski from the arena.